Bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFP podcast. I'm your host Jorge Martin, and today vamos al capital. We're talking about the nation's capital, Washington football team, going to DC, baby. Look at this. And joining us, our invitado de lujo, Manny Chokuba. Did I say that correctly? Did I say? Oh, muy bien, muy bien. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. His first name is Emmanuel, so I would love to say it that way. But he is the host of Backrow Redskins, and he's also talking sports with Manny. He is one of the fun and exciting, a podcast host. YouTube. He's got a great YouTube channel that you got to check out. We're going to let him talk about it. And you know what? You got Familia. You all know about my love for the Lakers, so we're going to take about a minute to talk Lakers because he's also got a Lakers show. So, Manny, mi amigo, bienvenido. Thank you for joining the Familia FFP podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on the show, man. I'm excited, man. Let's get it.
Oh, well, definitely. Let's get it. You know what? You got a beard. I got a goatee, but I don't think but I don't think anybody gets close to the man himself, Ryan Fitzpatrick. When it comes to the beard, and when you look at this team last year, I mean, Alex Smith, God bless him, comeback player of the year, but he's not the guy you wanted to lead this team. When you look at this player, Ryan Fitzpatrick, this is probably the first time in his career that he is being signed as the starter for a potentially playoff team. Can you give me just kind of like the expectation for him, both from a football and, since you're so heavily into fantasy, just from a fantasy perspective?
Okay. So from the real football aspect, Ryan Fitzpatrick was brought here to solidify this team. You look at the quarterbacks that we've had the last, let's say 4 years. Alex Smith missed a check down, Charlie. Game manager, couldn't get the ball down the field. So that's definitely not what we have in Fitzpatrick. With Fitzpatrick is two contrasting styles. You have a guy who's going to air it out, and that's what you need. You're going to have a guy like Terry McLaurin have his best season, and we're going to talk about Terry when we get into the wide receiver talk. But what I've assessed so far of Ryan Fitzpatrick in these first two preseason games is that he assessed the field and he reads the field rather quickly and makes a play. He's a guy that's not discouraged by interceptions. He's not discouraged by, I didn't make a play. What you get out of him is going to be a gunslinger, but somebody who's willing to make the throws that's needed to win the games. Obviously, he can lose some games. Sometimes he's Fitzmagic. Sometimes he's Fitztragic. Now, if you're looking at in terms of fantasy football, a lot of people that play superflex leagues or two quarterback leagues, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a nice second quarterback to grab, especially when you have, other guys going off the board like Derek Carr and the Kirk Cousins of the world. You can get you a Ryan Fitzpatrick at his ADP so cheap that he can come in and give you multiple games of 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. That's the potential of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, when those games are coming, we don't know. But one thing that I do know is that if it gets into a shootout, let's say that the defense is having a bad day, and it's a shootout, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a quarterback that you want to have on your team because he's going to throw you in a game. He might throw you out, but I'll take those chances of a guy that can get you 300 yards and 3 passing touchdowns.
And you know what? Isn't he a little bit of a sneaky play when it comes to running the ball?
Oh, yeah. He's still mobile. Even at this age, I've been keeping close attention in what's going on in training camp. Ryan Fitzpatrick beat Montez Sweat to the end zone, okay? So he still has some wheels, even at age, 38? He is just one of those guys that's a constant professional. You know what I'm saying? There was a Hall of Famer, I forgot which one it was. They said that one thing that Ryan Fitzpatrick is that he is a pro. To be on so many teams, to be on so many situations, to have 7 kids. I even heard that he had 1 kid in each different city. That's just how much Ryan Fitzpatrick has traveled. So he's a leader. He's a guy that knows how to get done. People want to talk about what he's done in the past. Look, the guy's from Harvard, man. He got to be smart. You don't go to Harvard just being a regular guy. The guy knows how to stick around in the league. You can say whatever you want to say. He's a professional.
I love it. I love it. Well, one of the things that we found out last year is that Antonio Gibson is a professional runner, a professional running back. You know, he came in with kind of a little bit of a slasher role, hadn't taken a lot of runs. Well, he really had, occasionally dominant season, especially against the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. Thank you very much for having that great game because he was very good for me.
Yes, sir.
But right after that, he came down with the toe. And this is an injury that kind of lingers for a while. That one of a lot of injury analysts have kind of really been keeping an eye on that. He was Antonio Gibson himself went on the Pro Football Focus podcast with Ian Hartitz and said that he could pronounce himself fine. So, considering that we can put that behind us, now let's focus on him as a runner. We saw that he could run. But J.D. McKissic was the passing down back. Could there be a little bit more passes coming his way to make him potentially a top 10 running back?
Hey, there's potential he can be a top 5 running back. Scott Turner, Cinco de Mayo, Cinco. There is a potential that he can be a top 5 back this year because Scott Turner wants to use Antonio Gibson like a Christian McCaffrey. I am not saying that he's a Christian McCaffrey, but guess what? When the volume is there, when the target is there, all Antonio Gibson needs to work on is his pass protection. If he gets that solid, he's going to be a 3-down back for the Washington football team. And don't be surprised if he's a 4-down back. In the preseason, they allowed him to get a 4th and 1 conversion. He didn't get it. He got to get stronger. So there's a few things that he needs to work on in this game. But this is a guy that was a wide receiver. He wasn't used as a wide receiver last year. But guess what? What I've seen in the preseason so far is targets. As long as Ryan Fitzpatrick is the quarterback, people say, oh, he doesn't throw to running backs. But guess what? This is a guy who played more wide receiver at Memphis than he did running back. So he's going to run some routes. He's going to do some real routes. He's going to be able to be used in the slot. And if all this that I'm saying is true, you're looking at a true potential top 5 running back just because of the touchdown upside. A guy that had 11 touchdowns last year. He was on pace for 15, but we know how his season ended. So he's a guy that literally every game can get you 1 touchdown a game. And then you add the receiving work and the running work. He's a year 2 in a new position. I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy. But please make sure you have Jared Patterson as a handcuff. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
Just in case.
Talk to me.
Yeah, Jared Patterson, man, you look at him, he's short, but the guy's powerful. I see a body type like a Maurice Jones-Drew / Ray Rice. That's the body type that I see when I look at Jared Patterson. This is a guy who had, what was it, like 18 or whatever many touchdowns in 6 games? This guy is not a fluke. He is a pure runner. And you're seeing Washington fans say, this guy is even a better pure runner than Antonio Gibson. If we're going to be honest, I'm telling you, the guy is the real deal. He's going to have a role, and each year he's going to get better. So if you're playing Dynasty, you definitely want to stash a Jared Patterson because I'm telling you, in a year or 2, it could be a 1A, 1B type backfield.
Ooh, outstanding. And how about J.D. McKissic? So he was one of the league leaders in running backs getting targets and receptions. How much do you see that pulling back, or do you still see him getting a lot, but still Antonio Gibson getting plenty?
Look, throw J.D. McKissic in the trash, okay? If you're playing fantasy football and you're playing Dynasty, sell him now. Sell. Look, as good as J.D. McKissic was last year, it was because of check on Charlie Alex Smith. There was games where Alex Smith targeted this guy 15 or 17 times just for no reason, just because he couldn't throw the ball down the field. So you're not going to see that this season, but he is going to be an important – I think he's more so real-life impact than fantasy impact. So J.D. McKissic, no. Jared Patterson, yes. Because what I say because Jared Patterson is also in the passing game in preseason. So what does that tell you? If Jared Patterson can do some of the things that J.D. McKissic can do, I'm just saying it just makes J.D. McKissic less valuable. Also with a guy like Curtis Samuel who can do some of those things as well. He's a running back / wide receiver position flex that Ron Rivera loves. So if anything, you see maybe J.D. McKissic in slot, if somebody gets hurt. But other than that, I don't really see the upside in J.D. McKissic this season.
So I'm the receivers. I'm going to ask you about 3 receivers. We'll talk about tight ends in a second. I'm going to go in order. You touched on him already. He's one of my favorite guys to target, kind of like in the range that he's going. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry. What's his? We've heard Scary Terry. We've heard the F1. What's he officially
F1
going by? The
Man, he really doesn't even have a nickname, but everybody's still calling him Scary Terry. Everybody's still calling him F1. I think F1 is the coolest so far. For him, he doesn't mind F1. He doesn't mind Scary Terry, but he wants something more original. Let me tell you something. Before we start to talk about Terry McLaurin, I put out something on Twitter on my Talking Sports with Manny Twitter page the other day. I said, I'm taking Terry McLaurin this season over A.J. Brown. That's what I think of. That's what I think of what Terry's going to do. So let's just go ahead and cut to the chase. Terry McLaurin is going to have 97 receptions this season. He's going to have 1,400 yards, and he's going to have 7 touchdowns. He's going to be tied with a guy on the team for 7 touchdowns. I just think Terry blows up this season. Why? Because historically, we have seen Fitzmagic get his wide receivers involved. Fitzmagic is going to get Terry McLaurin paid. We're talking Pro Bowl. We're talking maybe All-Pro if he leads the league in yards. My podcast last night, somebody said he leads the league in yards this year. Look, it could happen. It could happen. I just see him going off. Yes, you have more improved weapons, but one thing that people don't realize is that Terry is a wide receiver that can go deep. But you wouldn't know that. Outside of his first season, when he caught a 70-yard bomb against the Eagles with Case Keenum throwing the ball. After the quarterback change, there was not another quarterback on the roster that can get the ball deep to Terry. Terry can go deep. He has, 4.3 speed, okay? So I'm telling you guys, you're going to see plenty bombs this year. Fitz to Terry, Fitz to Terry, Fitz to Terry. I'm telling you, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a show. And I'm telling you guys, Terry has a shot to be a top 7 fantasy wide receiver this year. And if the stats that I project are true, you're talking top 3. We're talking top 3. You're talking about a guy who has a chance to possibly get 100 catches this year. And you're talking about an extra game. Assuming he's healthy, 17 games, that's just extra icing on the cake. He had 1,100 yards last year. He's going to shatter that. Me saying 1,400, I'm just being nice. I'm just being nice. Me saying 7 touchdowns, I'm just being nice. I'm telling you guys, Terry is the real deal, and I think he's going to be a top-tier wide receiver in real life and fantasy football this year.
Oh, outstanding. I love the passion, mi amigo. I love the passion. Oh, it's so fun. Oh, it's so cool. So there's, Curtis Samuel. He's got history with Ron Rivera and Scott Turner from the Carolina days. Yep. So had a very good season. He's got that dual threat ability for taking jet sweeps, taking carries out of the backfield. But he's been slowed down with an injury since June. And it just recently started to, train again with the team. He hasn't participated in regular practice yet. What any concern for you from that standpoint?
I asked the same question on the pod last night, and everybody was saying that they're not concerned yet. I'm a bit concerned just for the fact we paid this guy. You know what I'm saying? We're bringing you here to be the number 2 to Terry's number 1. He wants to play outside. We're going to use him all over. His nickname is going to be Spicy. He has no position. He's a positionless player. You're going to see this guy in the backfield. You're going to see him in a slot. You're going to see him split out wide. You're going to see him in the Wildcat. You're going to see this guy everywhere next year that defenses are going to be confused. When you see him out there, you're going to be saying, what is it? You're going to see him lined up in the punt returning position if you need a spark. So he's a guy that's going to be a Swiss Army knife. Projecting his stats, I don't know. I really don't know. It can be anywhere from 700 yards total to 1,000 yards total to 1,200 yards total, just based off of how good the defense is. Because if the defense is good, guess what? You don't have to pass the ball as much. But he is a guy that's going to be used in the backfield a lot. You're going to see him carry the ball at least 100 times, maybe a little less, but you're going to see him in the backfield. You're going to see him in the backfield. He's a mini running back / wide receiver, but he wants to prove that he can be an outside wide receiver, and you're going to see him play on the outside a lot this season.
Oh, fantastic. So third name, rookie, Dyami Brown. Good reports. He's been getting some playing time with Curtis Samuel being out. Uh-oh.
Don't get me
So
started.
Go ahead.
Don't get me started on some Dyami Brown. Dyami Brown. See, the Washington football team, they're great at drafting talent in the third round. Terry McLaurin, third round. Antonio Gibson, third round. Dyami Brown, third round. There's another guy I'm going to talk about later on when we get to that portion of it. But it seems like they are targeting certain guys in the third round. This guy has a it factor. He's smooth. He's strong. He looks slim, but he's strong. He's been big boying guys in practice. Jump balls, he's there. In the preseason game, there was a ball. He was running. I don't know what kind of route this is because I'm not a technical football guy. But this guy turns around. It was like an over-the-shoulder pass. He turns around, snags it out the air. Jumping ability, check. Speed, check. He checks off all the boxes. This is going to be a guy that's going to be a household name. Maybe not this season, but year 2, year 3, it can get dangerous. Look, if Dyami Brown can continue to ascend, you can see him starting in Curtis Samuel in the slot where he doesn't want to be. The team wants Curtis Samuel on the outside and Humphries on the inside. But I'm telling you, Dyami Brown, man, if you watch the show from last night, we gave Dyami Brown his own segment. I mean, that's just how good this kid is. He does it all. There's nothing this kid cannot do. And I'm telling you guys, for those of you guys who play Dynasty, he's one of the cheapest rookie wide receivers to grab. He's going in the third round, which is criminal. You want to go ahead and grab this guy and stash him because by the time that the football team actually gets a real quarterback, a franchise quarterback, things can get crazy. But I love Dyami Brown, and I love his upside. This season, he can have anywhere from 500 to 700 yards receiving. And if he does that, that just bodes well for next season. That just means, look, he's the number 2. Somebody said he's going to what's the word? They said he's going to pass Curtis Samuel by week 8. So these are some of the things that I'm hearing from fans, and I'm hearing from beat writers. I'm hearing from the coaches. They love this kid. They love swag. They love his demeanor. And the guy has some chops. He has some lamb chops, man. Come on, man. I mean, how can you not love a guy that has lamb chops? I mean, the guy has a potential to be special, and I'm glad that he's on the football team.
Oh man, lamb chops! You sure he wasn't born, playing ball in the '70s? Something like that. That when they were so popular.
Right. I know.
Oh my goodness, ay Dios mío. All right, let's jump to the tight end. Logan Thomas came out of nowhere, became a guy. He became one of the top tight ends after the elite ones. There are some who are worried about the fact that it's no longer Alex Smith checking down, but Ryan Fitzpatrick taking shots down the field. Do you think that's going to impact Logan Thomas's potential for having kind of like a great follow-up season to what he did last year?
So here's my thing. I have Logan Thomas as tied for touchdown lead on the team with Terry McLaurin. I have them both tied for 7 apiece. Now, Logan Thomas is going to be a weapon in the red zone. Okay? So touchdowns are going to be up. Targets are going to be down. Yards are going to be down. But the beauty of this offense with having guys like Dyami Brown, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, all guys that have 4.3 to 4.4 speed, guess what? When those guys are taking a top off of the defense, guess who's wide open? It's Logan Thomas. The team schemed him open last year. He was a project. He was a guy from Virginia Tech, played quarterback, came in the league, did not succeed as a quarterback, kept at it, similar to Taysom Hill, then boom, he gets a starting job. He gets the job to be a tight end, and everybody's saying, oh my gosh, including me, who is this guy? Why are you we need a real tight end. Why is Logan Thomas here? And he goes out and has a Pro Bowl season. He had a Pro Bowl season, but due to politics, Evan Ingram got the Pro Bowl nod. I'm telling you guys, Logan Thomas is going to be just as effective, if not more effective, than he was last season. I just see the targets being down just for the fact we have more weapons. And then I also see the yards being down. Like I said, just more weapons. But in terms of touchdowns, the sky is the limit for this guy. This might be a guy that you throw a jump ball to. Okay? And it's good to have guys like this. One thing that Ryan Fitzpatrick loves is throwing that ball that's 50-50. We know because we see the interceptions. But guess what? If it's going Logan Thomas is way more often than not, expect a big season out of this guy.
Oh, you got me so pumped up. You got me so pumped up, Manny. Oh, I can't believe it's we're recording this on August 26th. So we're 2 weeks to opening day. So, it's fun. So, yeah, you got me fired up, even for preseason football, Well, I love to talk about the guys in the trenches, the offensive linemen, the Washington has a reputation for having great offensive linemen. Obviously, in the 80s, you had the Hogs and everything like that. But, this was a group that was number 6 at the end of the season last year for Pro Football Focus. Going into the season, they're number 17. What is, what's
higher.
The projection?
They'll be higher.
Okay.
They'll be higher. Look, sometimes PFF gets it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. Sometimes these guys, look, I'm telling you, this line goes out and gets Eric Flowers. Eric Flowers is back, okay? A guy who failed at tackle. He's a guard and a pretty darn good one, okay? They got him pretty much for free. So you get Eric Flowers, and one thing I always say is you cannot teach size. The guy is massive, and he's going to create some massive holes. He's not a guy that you can push around, okay? So you have Eric Flowers coming back. He's fighting with Wes Schweitzer, who Wes Schweitzer does some crazy workouts. Go check out the video on my YouTube channel. That's one of the strongest guys on the team, and they're battling. They're battling for that left guard position. So that's depth there. Then on the right side, you have Brandon Sheriff, the All-Pro. At least we got him for this season. He's probably gone after next season. But you have Brandon Sheriff, the All-Pro. And in the middle, you have Chase Roulier, who's been one of the most solid centers. We just paid him a few years ago. Maybe it was last year or the year before that. So he's paid. So that interior, I'm telling you, there's going to be holes created, whether it's for Patterson, whether it's for Gibson, McKissic. Look, if you can't run through that hole, then you should not be an NFL running back. Then we go to the outsides. We get this kid named Samuel Cosme from Texas. We grabbed this guy in the second round. I had him ranked as a top 5 tackle. We get this guy in the second round. Are you kidding me? A guy that I gave a first-round grade? We get this guy. This guy is as athletic as most tight ends in the NFL. So you get him outside in space. We're talking about screens and bubble screens and things of that nature. And this is a guy that you can deploy in a jumbo package disguised as a tight end. You can make him eligible to be a tight end. So he's a guy that can get some sneaky touchdowns as well. And then you go to the other side. You have Jay Leno, a guy who was a 7th-round pick for the Bears, and this guy has never missed a start since he was in start. Look, this guy even made a Pro Bowl, a 7th-round pick. The only reason why the Bears cut him was because they drafted Tevin Jenkins, and now Tevin Jenkins is hurt and can possibly miss the season. I guarantee you they want Charles Leno back. So the team is deep on that offensive line. Because of our position flex, we're going to keep 9 guys, but we're deep at every single position. We have centers that play guards. We have a tackle that plays guard in Sadiq Charles from LSU. You know what I'm saying? Questions came in, about his arms and his size. This guy said, "Look, I protected Joe Burrow in the SEC for years with my short arms, with my whatever." So the line is stacked. Something that has bothered this line has been depth and health. I'm not worried this season. We have so many guys on the line that we can't even keep all these guys. We're going to stash some guys on the practice squad. I'm just here to tell you that this line has a chance to be a top 5 unit. So if the team was number 6 last year, they're going to be number 5 or better this season.
Oh, outstanding. So last football question, you got last regular football question, because I'm going to ask you a fantasy question. You got Chase Young and the boys. So this is definitely one of the first 3 defenses that's coming off the board when you're drafting DSTs. But I want to ask from the standpoint of the opposition, when players are looking to go against this defense, this was a defense that did not give up much on either running or passing. Where are the strengths? Are there any weaknesses? Dígame.
So look, for those people that are drafting this defense, top 3. It should be top 1. Okay? If you're in redraft, you get this defense in round 7. Thank me later. You get this defense in round 7, maybe round 6. I know it sounds crazy for defense. This is the year you're going to see this defense create turnovers and actually score touchdowns. So when you say, is there a weakness, you can look to the linebackers. Got Cole Holcomb, who's a nice Sam. Then you just drafted Jamin Davis, a freak athlete, but from the first 2 games, he looks kind of passive. He doesn't look aggressive. He's trying to figure it out. Trying to play that middle linebacker position. So if there's anywhere you can attack, you attack the middle. At least right now that Jamin Davis is still trying to figure it out. That's the only weakness right now. I'm telling you, this team is stacked. We have a guy named Benjamin St. Juste, another 3rd-round gem. I told you we're pretty good at drafting these guys. This guy's a 6'2", almost 6'3" guy, solid. This guy can play press man. So you have 2 now good press man corners in Benjamin St. Juste and William Jackson III that they paid in free agency. And then you have Kendall Fuller. When he's playing a slot, he's one of the best slots in the league. So when you really say, is there a weakness? Maybe linebackers, because when you look at that backside, you have Landon Collins, who's back. He is back, okay? Then you have Cameron Curl, 7th-round gem, who should have won the Rookie of the Year last year. That's how good he was. He was the 2nd-best rookie in my book last season. Everybody's saying Jeremy Chin. He was better than Jeremy Chin. Go look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. People do, but numbers don't. The numbers are there. Go check it out. So when you're looking at this defense, you're going to see a lot of three safeties out on the field because linebackers are so weak. We're going to play 2 linebackers. We're going to rotate somebody else, and then we're going to have a guy like Curl as that Buffalo nickel. So is there a weakness? I don't know. You have B. McCain that we brought in from Miami to play that free safety, which was a weak position for us last year. We didn't know what we were doing at free safety. So is there really a weakness? I don't know. One thing I will tell you is that the strength of this defense is not even Chase Young or Montez Sweat. The strength of this defense is the interior. We have 4 defensive linemen in that interior. In Tim Settle, a guy that a lot of people don't know about, Matt Ioannidis. Then you have the first rounders in Payne and Allen. And I'm telling you, Matt Ioannidis is the best pass rushing interior defender that we have, and he doesn't even start. Tim Settle is the guy who had 5 or 6 sacks last year, and guess what? He doesn't even start. So I'm telling you, this defense is awesome. And it may be a weakness, might be depth outside of Chase Young and Montez Sweat. That could be a weakness. The guys that are after them, 2 rookies. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know. 2 7th-round rookies are the depth pieces for those 2 guys. So telling you, this defense is going to be stout. I'm excited for it. I'm more excited about the defense than I am the offense, if we're being honest.
Oh, you got me fired up. So, you're an avid fantasy player. You do a lot of fantasy analysis, a lot of recommendations. Do you have 1 or 2 sleepers that you want to find in the later rounds that you don't want to leave a draft without?
Absolutely, man. There's so many sleepers, but if I had to give you one, I'm trying to think of one of my teams. Bryan Edwards. Bryan Edwards is a guy that I wanted my football team to draft. The Vegas Raiders, Bryan Edwards, if he's used correctly, this guy can be a 1,000-yard wide receiver this season. You look at the team, you have Darren Waller. Darren Waller was the number 1 wide receiver. Henry Ruggs, he's a question mark.
Hey, I'm going to start right here and go that way, but when I get done, if I'm still here, will you move up?
Yeah. Sorry about that. So, that's Bryan Edwards is definitely a guy that I'm targeting. He is definitely one of my targets. I think, like I said, he's going to be a 1,000-yard wide receiver this year. So you want to target him early and you want to target him often. Bryan Edwards, go get him. And in terms of running backs, there's so many, but a guy that I'm buying right now is J.K. Dobbins. Everybody's down on him just because Lamar Jackson is a guy that gets all those rushing touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins can catch the ball. They just don't use him that way. He's a guy that you want to go ahead and grab. Look, he's going cheap right now. His ADP is pretty good. But trade is where you're going to get great value for a guy like J.K. Dobbins, especially in Dynasty. I'm telling you guys, go get him. Right now, maybe you can trade an aging player, nice solid back with a first-round pick. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow. My guys put out J.K. Dobbins out for the trade market. I said, look, I have a guy like Leonard Fournette, maybe tossing another back, and I give up maybe a third next year and then 2024 first-round pick. So J.K. Dobbins is definitely a sleeper. I think he's going to explode this season.
Oh, outstanding. So, one more before we have our closing fun question. You do also do a Laker podcast, and so I know there's a lot of excitement about the trio of LeBron, AD, and Russ. So, but I want to know. I told you I shared that Magic Johnson was my guy growing up. Who's your Laker guy?
Kobe. I'm a young guy. So Kobe was my guy. I've been a fan since 1999, man. Kobe he was my hero. This guy, I go to school talking so much trash because I know Kobe's going to hit that game-winning shot. You just know that Kobe's going to help will this team to championships. Like, I've seen Kobe go to 7 championships, come out with 5 rings. You know how many times I go to school saying, guess what? The Lakers are back in a championship, baby. So, yeah, man, Kobe was my guy, man. He was just so clutch. And, look, I was just so blessed. I'm a Wizards fan, too, but I was just so blessed that I became a Lakers fan because Washington sports is not, Washington sports is tough. So, at least I have the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? People say, oh, you're a traitor, you're this. Hey, I'm a happy traitor, okay? I've seen parades. I've been to Staples. I've had fun. I've tasted winning. And I never want to stop tasting winning. So it's just fun being a Lakers fan. And it was just tough all these years watching Kobe Bryant play, man. It was just an honor just to, when he felt like a family member, passed. You know what I'm saying? That was just what Kobe meant to me. He was just that guy that me and my family would get together and sit around the living room to watch this guy play. So, yeah, man, Kobe Bryant is my hero. And I was just glad to be able to witness somebody as great as him and do some great and mighty things in the basketball world. So.
And I will tell you, Los Angeles, it had a bit of its heart ripped out when he passed, and it was definitely. I mean, I think it took us, because then we went into the pandemic. I think it took a really long time for things to. And I still don't. There's so many people who are still so. I mean, I'm still impacted by it, and I'm also a girl dad, and so a lot of emotions there, but. I love all the interviews that he did and so many things that just kind of keep him around and all the highlights and everything. And I just think he's, and the other thing that I tell people, I think who the Jordan folks, the Jordan GOAT, proclaimers, I said, okay, he may not be better than him, but I don't think there's anybody who's gotten closer than him.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's true. That's facts. I mean, from the fadeaway to the swag to the jumping ability, I'll say Kobe had a better jumping ability than Michael Jordan. Kobe had, you can argue this, that Kobe had better in-game dunks than Michael Jordan. I mean, Kobe, the dude could fly. And then Kobe was a better three-point shooter than Michael Jordan. There's a lot of things that Kobe was better than Jordan at, but people don't. It's a conversation that people are not willing to have. It's just being truthful and just being real. You can see Kobe go off for, he's not a three-point shooter, but he'll have games where he goes off for 10, maybe 12 threes in a game just because he's in the zone. You know what I'm saying? You can make an argument that Kobe was a better scorer. The guy, he was an assassin. Yes, Jordan was Jordan in errors, and I get all this, but Kobe just had that killer factor. Like, if there's anything close to Jordan, it's Kobe Bryant, and there's nobody that comes remotely close to what Kobe has done compared to Michael Jordan.
Plus, he had the audacity, the courage to want to take a shot at the crown, where a lot of people didn't want that. And so I'm like, to me, that's extra points. And I love that they, when I think the one, much as I loved Shaq's testimonial and so many others, when Jordan got up and talked about their relationship, which not a lot of people knew about, that to me, that got me. That just got me.
I gave Jordan so much respect after that. I'm like, you know what, Jordan? You're all right in my book. You're all right in my book.
I always had maximum respect for Jordan. In fact, I'm gonna send you I'm gonna send you an article that I wrote about the one and only. I wrote it last year during the Last Dance, and it's about the one and only time I got to see Michael Jordan play live. And I'll send it to you. It's pretty. I'm really proud of it. But closing shop now. This being a Latino focused, I come from a large Mexican American family. Food is numero uno in our family. Can you tell me favorite tacos, favorite types of tacos, favorite Mexican food?
Pollo and queso. No. I love fajita nachos. There's a place right here in Nashville that I go to called Los Arcos. They have the most tastiest, mouth-watering fajita nachos. I get them with chicken, shrimp, and beef. It is so tasty with goat cheese and peppers and the whole nine. Beautiful. Mwah, chef kiss. So good.
Oh, phenomenal. I mean, it's getting close to dinner time out here, so actually it's Taco Thursday and for the Martine 5, so I'm gonna go help get it going. But Manny, this was such a pleasure. I love the passion so much. Please feel free, pump everything you want, pump all your great stuff, because then it's tons of it.
Thank you. So guys, follow me on Twitter at Manny Chokuba. Follow me on Twitter at TS with Manny. That's the Talking Sports with Manny Twitter page. Same as Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Talking Sports with Manny. Check out the Talking Sports with Manny podcast and the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, I pump out everything from the Backrow Redskins stuff, which is another podcast, the Backrow Redskins Show podcast. Check that out. But on the YouTube page, that's where you're going to get everything. NBA, you're going to get Lakers, you're going to get Wizards, you're going to get Redskins, Washington football, the whole nine. So catch me on YouTube, subscribe. We're growing out there. Last but not least, the last podcast is Showtime with Manny. It's a Lakers podcast. It's going to be episode 5 coming. I stopped recording after we lost to Phoenix last year. I took a vacation. I said, look, I can't do this. I've not recorded another episode since that happened, partly because I'm very, very busy doing all these different things with all my boys that I have and boys that's coming in November. So you guys check me out on social media. Let's connect. Let's engage. I love to talk. I love to interact. So thank you so much for having me on the show, man.
Oh, thank you. Fue un gran placer. Thank you so much. And also big thank you to Robbie Johnson of the Rum Boys Fantasy Network for connecting us. And this was a blast. Robbie, papi, muchas gracias como siempre. Everybody, eso es todo for our show. Special thanks to Anchor for being our hosting network for the audio portion of this podcast. Find us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Give us a subscribe. Please give us a review. Also, you can find us at Familia FFB on YouTube, so you can see our faces like right here. So I'd love to try and catch up to Manny someday. So give us a subscribe when you get a chance, and also find original content at familiaffb.com. And you can find my I'm pushing out all my content through Jorge Martin 17 right here. I almost got it right. And also we got our at Familia FFB on Twitter and Instagram. Otra vez, Manny. Muchas gracias. And everybody, todos somos familia.